Alright, let's go ahead and work on the front panel. I'm going to select the front panel and isolate it in the front view and the perspective view. And let's try and get the indentation where the select and start buttons rest built out. I'm going to go to my Multicut Tool, hold Control, drop an edge loop at the top of that indentation and the bottom of the indentation, and then the left and right. Once that is complete, I will go to Face Mode and select that face and extrude it. So I'm going to pull it out a little bit, like so. Not too far though. Then I'll select all the corner edges. Once they're all selected, I'm going to bevel them. And then I'll use the front view as a reference and decrease the fraction a little bit and give myself 3 segments so I get the proper shape. Now I'm going to clean up these n-gons. So I will create an edge loop from the bottom to the top. You can force a 90-degree angle while using the Multicut tool by first clicking on the vertex you want, then holding Control and Shift at the same time. If it is working properly, you'll get this green dotted line that's helping you see the different angles you can choose. So I'm going to go to all 4 of these corners and create these edges. And I'll select these edges and delete them. And then I'm going to do that for every corner. Once that is complete, let's go ahead and select this face and extrude it inward. So I'm extrude and then offset, and I'm offsetting it inward to try and match the width of this sort of frame for the select and start button. Then I'll extrude it again and use the thickness slider to push the face in. And then I'll also use the offset to scale this in so we get that little slope that exists on the controller. And I want to be careful not to scale this in too far, or else I'll get vertices in the corner that touch or overlap, and we want to avoid that. So use the scale tool to just kind of manipulate this by hand outside of the offset function. Next I'm going to select all of the edges. I'm going to select all of the edges in here that wrap around this interface, and we're going to bevel it in order to create edge flow. So let's go ahead and select all these. Gotta get this really tiny edge in there. Then I'll hit bevel. And I'll turn chamfer off. And now I'm going to use the Multicut tool to clean up these n-gons. We get kind of close, so I actually click on the vertex and I'll connect to those two. And I'll connect these two. And these two. Alright, I'm going to duplicate this by hitting Control D and then moving that piece to the side. Let's go ahead and make the frame for the D-pad. So I'm going to delete my history, and then I will select these faces on the left hand side. With those faces selected, I'm going to go to Edit Mesh and Extract. Now I've pulled those off into their own object. I'm going to hit Control 1 to isolate it in the perspective view. I'm going to select these edges here and delete them. And let's see. Yeah, I'll delete these as well. And then I'll delete these vertices in here as well. So now I want to drop edge loops. And I'll drop one right here in the center. One in the center horizontally. I'll select this edge and that edge, and then I'll bevel them. I'm going to take the fraction and increase it until those edges get to sort of the outer point of the frame, like this. And again, this image is a little, it's not perfectly set up, so I'll just kind of do my best. I'll drop edge loops in the center there, and then I'll bevel those, and I'll increase and decrease the fraction to match the frame again, sort of the width of the frame. You can kind of see the little plus sign that's being created. Next, I'll go to edge mode, and I'm going to select the edges that wrap around the outside of the frame like this, and then bevel them. I'll decrease the fraction. Something like this. I'll go to face mode and select all of those faces and scale them in to better match the reference. Next, I'm going to select all these outside corner edges and not the inside corner ones, because those have a different bevel to them. Once I just have those outside ones, like so, I'll hit bevel, I'll decrease the fraction and increase the segments. Something like this. Then I'll select these interior corners and I'll bevel those, decrease the fraction quite a bit, and increase the number of segments to 2. Once I get something I like, I'm going to go to face mode, select all these faces, edit mesh, extract. And it looks like it didn't work the first time, so let's try this again. Select all of them, edit mesh, extract. There we go. Then I can delete this outside piece. And now I just have this piece here. I'll select the whole thing in object mode and hit Control E to extrude it. I'm going to center the pivot first though. Just making sure things are lined up. I'll take the extrusion and then I'll use my move tool and pull that out a bit so there's some thickness to it. I'll select this outer edge and the inner edge and bevel them so they have a bit of a slope. And that looks good. I'm going to delete this and then move this back to where it was, and we'll see you in the next video.